from each happily ever after, every wish upon a star. Let's break down the movies that shaped who we are, from memory lane to now and everything in between. The most famous of films to the ones we've never seen. Decade by decade, all the times we laughed and cried, and with a little pixie dust, they will all take flight, reliving the feelings, and we're trying our very best. And if they mean the same to you, please be our guest. So hop aboard, we would love to have you as we hang with a certain mouth, the whole gang too. If you love nostalgia stuff, we hope this does the trick. Thanks for joining us as we deep dive the magic.
Hi, and welcome back to the Deep Diving the Magic podcast. I'm KJ.
And I'm Jeffrey, and we are back today with the 95th Disney feature-length film from December the 24th of 1969. It is a film called The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes. The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes is the final film of the decade. It's the final film of the 1960s. It is the return of Kurt Russell. And it is also the return of Medfield College, like from the Absent-Minded Professor films. And it is the first in a new trilogy. It's first in a new trilogy featuring a couple of films that are coming up soon. Now You See Me, Now You Don't, and The Strongest Man in the World. Both, like I said, upcoming soon. So, starting a new trilogy. So, do you have any, maybe a synopsis or thoughts about The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes?
Sure. At Medfield College, an accident with a donated computer gives Dexter Riley the ability to remember any knowledge learned instantly and perfectly.
Yeah, so do you have any thoughts about the film?
I think you had told me it was a well-known film.
Mm-hmm.
I had never heard of it. I think, didn't we discover there was like a remake done? Because I had never heard of that one either. So I've never heard of it.
Was it worth it?
Yeah, it was pretty decent.
Yeah. Any trivia facts or anything like that?
Uh,
Things you want to pepper in later?
Well, like you said, there is a trilogy of 3 movies coming up. They all starred Kurt Russell as Dexter. Um, and
Dexter in his laboratory.
and
That's not Disney.
Okay, and these films were set in Medfield College, where a scientific breakthrough would lead to hijinks.
Mhm.
The campus shown outside the window of the dean's office is actually a photograph of the buildings at the Walt Disney Studios, and this is the very same backdrop that was used during the run of the Disneyland television show for the scene shot on the set that served as Walt Disney's office,
Mm-hmm.
where he hosted segments of the program. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then, like you said, Medfield College was also used in the movies coming up, as well as The Absent-Minded Professor and The Son of Flubber.
Yes. It's all tied into the same galaxy.
I guess the rest of it I can kind of just pepper in later.
All right, so are we ready to jump right in?
Mhm.
All right, so we start off with our opening credits. There's a fun song that is playing about a computer and how the computer is a real groovy guy, because, we are still in the 60s for one more film. There is a college meeting where they're discussing Medfield and about how Medfield, like, they're kind of going over like the budget, and they're like, Medfield can't afford a computer.
Medfield could never afford anything.
It's true.
I don't know how those colleges they still have troubles, even from The Absent-Minded Professor.
I mean,
Yeah. They've been struggling in every movie.
they kept football though, or whatever. So whatever, they can't afford a computer. There's a bunch of students that are like listening to like a broadcast. They like bugged the meeting and they're listening to outside. Um, they listen to the broadcast. They are down to the nitty gritty of their budget. They're talking about. They're talking about how they have to get rid of like basically there's a lot of not so gifted students that they're putting these people on probation.
Like
Like,
academic probation.
yeah, which is including Dexter, which we discussed earlier. Um, but the students are like, no, we want to buy a computer. Um, but it costs $10,000. It costs 10 grand. And but then Dexter's like, oh well, I used to work for the computer place. I used to work for the guy named Arno. I don't know if you have Arno's last name, but whatever. Arno, who is like owns like the computer company. He's also like a very sketchy mobster guy, but we'll get there on that. So the kids are like, all right, we're just gonna go there and we're gonna get this computer on our own. So they're like, we're gonna go ask him to donate. So they go in there and they ask him to donate the computer, but he says that he already gives the school $20,000 a year, so no computer. But then they're like talking about the computer and they're talking about whatever, and then it kind of gives the guy like the idea that they can work something out, right? Did you
Yeah.
pick up anything else on that?
No.
They can work something out. So, um, the kids leave. Arnold hits like a magic button, and like a secret room appears after. And there's like a whole like I don't know what the word is, but like there's like a whole bunch of people will say that are just like working in this like sketchy mobster esque kind of like I don't know, just like whatever illegal stuff. So they're counting lots and lots of money, and there's a this giant computer with like the betting odds.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, they're like, oh well, we can hide our evidence by having the kids take this because they're going to give it to the school, and that way we don't have to donate $20,000 anymore, and we're going to give them this computer.
Mm-hmm.
So back at the school, it cuts to the next scene, and clearly they got the computer because they are bringing in the computer equipment piece by piece. So it looks like Arno decided to donate the computer instead of his money donation. So this upsets the dean, obviously, because they're going to lose some money. So the dean says he's going to keep an eye on Dexter. So then we are at the first like class of these kids. These college kids. We're at the first class, and like they're like running tests on the computer in the class about how humans can be replaced by computers, which is funny because this was in 1969. Think about it now, and but they end up overloading the computer system.
Yeah.
And there's a like a thing over the loudspeaker school announcements that says don't forget there's like the classification test the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Anything about the classification test, like, so it's just like an aptitude test type deal.
It's some kind of, yeah, it kind of looks like the SAT, but and it's similar because they tell you you're timed by how many you can get right. So that he did tell them, like, if you don't know the answer, quickly move on and go to the next thing.
Yeah. So
And it's supposed to take a long time to do. I forgot how long. Do you
Yeah, I don't
remember?
know.
It was like over an hour, maybe like an hour and 30 minutes to 2 hours or something like that they would give people to finish this test.
the kids are taking notes about this test, and there's like a dizzy storm happening in the background. But they're like, "Hey, we fried our computer doing our tests earlier, so we need like a new piece, like a new battery or something." I forgot exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And Dexter's like, "Well, I can go get it." And the guy's like, "Well, it's kind of far away." He's like, "Well, I have nothing better to do." So then Dexter goes and gets this new battery. So he drives to computer place,
Yeah.
Arno's place or whatever, and he gets the new piece, but then he's drenched. He is soaking wet because this is like a doozy of a Disney storm.
Hmm.
A doozy of a Disney downpour. I just thought of that. 3Ds. It's not like the ranch at Disney World,
Hmm.
Circle D Ranch or Triple D, whatever.
Yep.
So he's soaked, and so he goes to replace the part of the computer, which ends up causing him to get electrocuted.
Which makes no sense. Why would you try to?
Well, computers are new. He doesn't know.
It doesn't matter. It's an electrical object. I'm pretty sure he has enough common sense
Well, I mean, there's a reason he's on
not
academic
not
probation.
not to put the toaster in the bath.
Well, he's on academic probation. So.
Okay, whatever. Anyway.
So he gets electrocuted, but this causes the computer to stop working. Like the computer
It
just
pretty much fried the
stops
motherboard.
running. Yeah. But then suddenly Dexter can start to recite things in his like he goes to sleep or whatever, and like while he's sleeping, he is like reciting all this stuff.
Yeah. And
He-
his roommate woke up from him like talking in his sleep, but he was like, "Are you okay? Because you're beeping." So he was
Hmm.
like making the beeping noise that the computer makes.
He also some of the things that he was reciting was the illegal betting information.
Yes, which was Applejack, Pompey Place, 4379, Animals, 800, Tables, 525, Amusements, 625.
You know,
And Applejack stood for that guy.
Arno.
Yep. And these other places
I mean, that's gonna get given away later, but yeah,
were
go
like
ahead.
places that they owned or something.
Yeah.
So it all like tied into something.
Yeah, so that gives it away a little bit. But the so he starts to like give up this information. Clearly, he's becoming the computer. So the next day is test day, and Dexter answers like so. Like they hand out these tests. Actually, you want to talk about this the tests and like his whole
So they
arc with
hand
these
out the
tests?
test. The test is not like what we grew up taking, like where you have the test booklet and then you have like a answer sheet where you like, I don't know, like a Scantron sheet where you scan it on or whatever. It is just like the test booklet, stapled together, and you have the questions, but you have the answers on the same page, and you're going through and circling whatever your answer is through. And it is like a booklet. When I tell you a booklet, it's a pretty thick thing. This, like we said, they had like an hour and a half to 2 hours or something like that to take the test. So the test gets passed out. Everybody starts taking their test, and they're moving through it at their normal pace, except Dexter is flying through this test.
Yeah,
Like to the point where like students around him are stopping and just looking because he's just like going through and then flip. And they're all like, "What?" And then at one point I think he actually stops and like looks around like, "What? Why is nobody else moving
Yeah.
as fast as I am?"
he flies through it, and then he starts like eating his lunch and stuff, and he's just
But
disrupting
it's like
everybody because he's
crinkly, like it was packed in a paper bag, so he's just being disruptive and he's obviously not meaning to, so
So the scoreboard ends up thinking that he's cheating because he does finish this entire test without a single mistake, and he finishes it in 4.5 minutes. They
and they're given hours to finish.
yeah, and he gets it right. So they run some tests on him, and then when they look in his eyes, they see a computer for his brain.
Which I was like, that's
Um,
yeah, who do you think thought of that? Oh, when they have the person look in the eye, let's make it look like a computer.
oh, the source material.
Oh,
So
gosh.
they start calling him the human computer. And he's like gaining some fame. He goes on some television shows.
Yeah.
They call him the Wizard of Medfield College, Dexter Riley.
Mhm.
They put him on this TV show, and they start asking him like these unbelievably hard questions, but his confidence grows and he aces it. Like he ends up like outshining the hosts of the show.
Mhm.
So, um, it's just like a montage of Dexter's like confidence growing. They're sending him on like a whole like world tour. Um, and because of this, Dexter's getting more and more popular and more famous, and his head is growing. And so his friends think that he's acting weird, but he keeps getting more and more recognition. People are throwing him a parade.
Now, do you think his head's growing because it's all going to his head, or do you think his head's growing because he's getting so much knowledge and he's just retaining everything he learns?
Yeah.
Or a combination?
So I mean, dude's got a parade after him. So, but then we have to have a foil. So like in these Medfield movies, the dean of the state college, is getting irritated, and he wants Dexter transferred to his school. So, Dexter is traveling the world. He's doing all these important things. Like he's going to like the rocket launch. He's going like he is meeting all these dignitaries. He's doing all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we then Medfield realizes that Dexter, because of all the commotion and everything, has never enrolled in the spring semester. So he hasn't had a chance to enroll in the spring semester yet.
Hmm.
But also at the same time, Arno calls Dexter because he wants to recruit him for his organization. Because think of all the money he can get from this dude. And so Arno wants him to join his organization as well. So now there's a three-way of people trying to get this kid to join them, this computer kid. So now I just keep thinking of Dexter from Dexter's Lab.
I've been thinking of that every time you say Dexter.
Yeah. So I mean, it makes sense. He had like the big computers in the lab too. So yeah.
Yeah.
If it's better than thinking of like the murderer Dexter.
The serial killer.
I mean, I guess I never watched that.
You've missed out.
I guess whatever. So Dexter tells Medfield that he isn't sure if he wants to enroll there for the next quarter. Like he wants to like weigh his options, and he's the most popular guy in the world. So dude's got parades after him. So Arno, he goes and meets with Arno. Arno discusses like race statistics and betting. Dexter's like, okay, the horse that's going to win this next race is called Market Doodle. No one believes him because he has like these ridiculous odds, but he wins. He comes from behind and he wins. So Arno's like, oh my god, I have like a money guy now. Like this is amazing. But the schools are also actively trying to get him to enroll, both schools. But then I'm gonna let you talk about this because I didn't really understand this. But everyone's trying to get him. Like the Arno's guys, like his mob guys, take him out to dinner.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, going out to dinner, the two schools are there, and then they end up with a raid at the casino, and they all go to jail. Want to talk about that?
So the mob's obviously doing their shady business. They're taking Dexter out, and somehow the schools find out about this, so they're also trying to get Dexter involved in what they're doing. And they have no idea that they've walked into the middle of all this shady business that's going on, and the police obviously come to break up everything, and when they do, they arrest pretty much everybody that was in the building, which includes both people from the college
And Dexter.
and Dexter, and those three parties have no idea what's going on. The mobsters are like, oh, we've been caught, but are still like trying to deny everything, but obviously they know why they've been arrested, but the two college people and then Dexter are just clueless as to what actually happened.
So they're all in different jail cells, but then Dexter overhears the deans of the college fighting over him.
Mm-hmm.
But then we see that Dexter has been bailed out. Nobody else has been bailed out except for Dexter.
Mm-hmm.
So as he's walking out, Dexter, like Arno's guys are like, "See, we got you. We bailed you out." And the school's like, "Oh, you're getting bailed out." But on the way out, since he overheard them all fighting over him, he refuses to sign up for either school. Like he's like, I'm not going to either of your schools.
Yeah.
But when he opens the door to see who actually bailed him out, it was his friends. His friends decided that they were going to like pool all their money together,
Mm-hmm.
and they get down to like the penny to bail this dude out. Which makes Dexter decide that he's going to stay at Medfield College with his friends. Then he goes
Yeah.
back in and he signs up for Medfield College.
Because he finds out who actually really cares for him.
Mhm.
Because he specifically made a point when he was still in the cell, when he was listening to them argue about everything. He said it seems like everybody is just in it for themselves. They don't care like about anybody else. They just whatever is going to benefit them is what they're going for.
Yep.
And he's upset by this.
He apologizes to his friends for how he acted.
Yeah. And not
And
being around.
Dexter gets well, obviously he gets chosen, but he's gonna go on the school panel quiz show.
Hmm.
And he chooses a couple of his friends to join him on this quiz show.
Hmm.
I don't remember how much money they get if they win, but it's like a lot of money the school gets if they win this quiz show.
Yeah. Because of course.
I didn't write it down.
I didn't either.
So it cuts to the quiz show, and Medfield just keeps winning. Obviously, they have the computer guy. They
Hmm.
like they're cruising.
Hmm.
They are
So
doing great.
first we had a basketball team that was really important for this school, and then we had a football team that was really important for this school. Now we have basically a quiz team
True.
that's important for this school to keep it afloat because they need the prize money.
It's true. So they just keep cruising, but then one of like so I'm talking like they're winning round after round after round. They're beating school after school after school.
Hmm.
But then it gets to one of the later rounds, and one of the answers is the word Applejack, which begins to make Dexter's computer brain like unwire. Like he kind of starts to brain fry himself. So he starts on public television, like
Yeah.
like on
It's like
national
he shuts
television.
down and goes into a trance.
Yep, like on national television, he starts to quote the race codes, the race horses codes that he did earlier, the ones that you read earlier.
Applejack.
He lists them all. So Arno is watching this, and he panics and he freezes his entire operation, and he is not happy. Arno's lackey comes for Dexter.
Give me that kid. Before he
'Cause
blabs everything
Yep,
to
because he's
everybody.
giving out the codes on the television.
And they start linking it to me.
So then Arno, I'm sorry, no, sorry, too many people here. Dexter never shows up at his girlfriend's house, so they alert the cops. So then the dean from Medfield thinks that the dean from the state college kidnapped him.
Which makes no sense
I mean,
because
what makes sense about it is that the next and final round for like all the money was Medfield versus State.
yes,
So they think that the guy from State kidnapped him,
I
so it
guess
couldn't
because he
be.
wasn't gonna, but he obviously couldn't have used him, so he'd just been hiding him, I guess.
Yeah,
but
so that way his school won. So
I guess that
um,
makes sense, but
so
I didn't think of that when we were watching it.
his friends are trying to crack the code of what could have Dexter
Applejack.
meant. Yeah, I mean, he says it all. He says like whatever. And then it leads them to Arno. Because they kind of like put some things together. It leads them to Arno, and they attempt to. They realize that Dexter is kidnapped by Arno, and they're going to attempt to assist Dexter in escaping. They see Dexter helping Arno's men. They see Dexter helping Arno's men to help them gamble, but the men are like ordered to get rid of him because he is too much of a liability at this point.
Hmm.
He was like helping them like basically they were like, if you want to eat food, you're going to help us win these races. But then they were like, no, we got to get rid of him. He's too much of a
Liability.
liability. So his friends decide that they're going to disguise themselves as painters, which causes a bunch of slapstick hijinks, which I will let you talk about the painters.
So the painters or his college friends, they show up at the house where he's being kept, and they tell them, "Hey, is this such and such a dress? We've got orders that we're supposed to paint today." And the guy's like, "You can't paint here today. Let me see this paperwork. We're not having any painting done." And then he verifies that, yeah, that is the correct address.
Yeah, he
Come
calls.
back tomorrow. And the guy's like, "No, I have to do it today. The orders are specifically to do it today."
Mhm.
And he's like, "Okay, whatever. Just quickly do it and be gone."
Well, first he calls the number on it to try to like catch their
Yeah.
bluff, but then one of the kids answers the number as the painting company.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, it sounds legit." So he just tells them, "Okay, well,
I don't remember.
quickly do it and let's go."
I don't remember what it was like. What colors they were doing? White and orange, maybe.
No.
Orange was one of them.
It was
Orange and green.
orange and like a lime green, and I think the floor of the porch was yellow. I don't know. At one point, one of the mobster guys is like, "This place looks like a what was it? A Halloween house."
Yeah.
Or something. And I was like, it does, because it does give jack-o'-lantern vibes. And then the one kid's not paying attention. So instead of painting the house orange and the trim line green, on his side, he had painted the house green, but the trim orange. And the guy's like, really? And I was
So they.
bright. So imagine this bright Lisa Frank house in the middle of
Mhm.
your movie.
At the same time, as the finals of the school quiz show is starting. It's about to begin.
Yeah.
It's Medfield versus State, and then Arno arrives home to see the wild paint job. He calls the number himself, and then one of the kids answers not as the paint company, so the cover is blown. Um, so then this causes the painter friends to attack the men while trying to free Dexter.
Yeah.
Bunch of more slapstick hijinks. There's paint messes. It's just a messy escape. They're able to free Dexter, but he's like trapped inside of
Like a box.
like a yeah, like
Like
a
a trunk or something.
Yeah, like a trunk. That's the word I couldn't think of. He's like trapped inside of a
big
trunk.
but it's locked and they don't have the key.
Yep. So they're able to like free him like out the window in this box.
They drop him.
Yep. And he hits his head. Keep that in mind for later. He hits his head on the way out. And then but they're able to get him into the car in the box in the trunk. The men keep like slipping and falling in the paint. They're making a mess. The men's car won't start because they put paint in the gas tank. Oh, there's paint everywhere. There's more paint than the Blue Man Group. There's even more hijinks. But it cuts back to the quiz show, and Medfield is currently losing the quiz show finals because they don't have Dexter. They just have the stand-in. The police get the info from Dexter's recordings, and it in fact leads them to Arno.
Which I thought was funny because the kids that like put it together were the ones that devised the plan to go get Dexter and save him.
Mhm.
And they had the one that's probably the dumbest one in the group. They're like, you need to take this to the police and get them to understand.
Mhm.
And he's like, me? Yes.
So like this this chase,
You, Brainiac.
like this chase is happening, and the kids are like shooting paint at the criminals. They're like throwing things at them. Like it's just
Do you know how
it's
much more effective and fast they could have painted that house had they used the paint sprayer instead of like when they were just shooting
Well-
them, they actually used the hems.
well, they were just trying to
I know.
sell time, but so whatever, just more hijinks. Kids are the Medfield's losing the college quiz show. The police are now informed because they finally got to decipher the recordings, teaching them that it was Arno. Dexter and the kids arrive at the quiz show. They're able to get him out of
Trunk.
the trunk, but for one, he can't stand up because he's like in like the fetal position because he's been stuck in this trunk, and for two, he has this like unstopping ringing in his ears, signifying that the fall caused him to have a concussion. But he's able to join his team. They kind of like carry him in, and he joins the team.
Yep.
And he instantly starts answering the questions correctly. So he's like closing the gap because clearly he's really smart.
The human computer.
But then you can tell that he's uncomfortable and his head is hurting and he's starting to struggle. Again, he has a concussion.
The computer in his brain is basically shutting
Yeah.
down.
So they're catching up, but then the other team is taking the lead, and then they're taking the lead. So it's like a very tight race as they are approaching the end of the quiz show. Dexter fights to get the right answers. He's struggling. He's stuttering. He is shutting down. He is not having a good time, but he's getting the answers out. But then, like I said, he's struggling. Then right at the end, State does take the lead heading into the last question. Dexter cannot answer the question. Like he does not know the answer to the question. I don't remember what the question even was. Like he is back to his normal brain capacity.
But the least smart person on the team knows the answer.
Yep. So, with 3 seconds left, his friend answers the question. The answer was Lebanon, Kansas. And
You know the answer, but you don't remember what the question.
I wrote down the answer,
Okay.
Lebanon, Kansas. I think it got referenced earlier in the film. It was like a callback because like someone's
Probably.
like family was from that or something. I
I
don't know.
think his family was from
Yeah, so like Lebanon, Kansas. So then Medfield is able to win even without Dexter's help. And they win the $100,000 prize. So that is something that I wrote down. That it was $100,000 for the school. Um,
Perfect.
so they're celebrating. They're celebrating the win.
Now, what do you think they're going to blow this money on and need money for in
I
the
don't know.
next
We
movie?
have two more films of the trilogy, and then they refer to this college at
I can't wait to see how they struggle in the next
they
one.
refer to this college at what the heck is it called? Use your journey into imagination with Figment. So I guess it's yeah. They're celebrating. And while they're celebrating, the colorful paint covered mobsters show up. Um, and the kids escape. Um, the kids like get into the car to escape, but then Arno and his henchmen try to chase after them, but they crash head on into the cop car and are arrested.
How ironic.
It's true. So then the school committee, it cuts to the next whatever, sometime later. The
Mhm.
school committee is meeting again, like in the beginning, to discuss what to do with the money. And again, Dexter and his friends are listening into the discussion. And the film ends with Dexter being back to his old self again. And that's the end of the film. He's back to his old self. He doesn't remember anything. He is not one of the genius children. And that was the film. What were your thoughts? Or anything else you got?
So, just a note, because the film's title alludes to a computer wearing tennis shoes. At no point in the film does Dexter actually wear tennis shoes.
I mean, we didn't see what shoes he was wearing
He
during
has
the
dress
test.
shoes on during the computer repair scene and after he gets out of the trunk. So basically, in the entire movie, he's been wearing dress shoes.
I mean, I don't know.
Every scene I saw, he was not wearing.
I could play tennis in dress shoes.
Okay, well, anyway.
So, what were your thoughts?
Um, okay, I'll just skip to my thoughts then.
Well, you can come back. I mean, you can come back. I mean,
Um, there was links to Batman because of AJ Romero being the best known Joker to play Batman in 1966.
Yeah, the Joker from the original Batman was who played Arno.
Yeah. And then Kurt got to star in this movie with his real father, Bing Russell. And Bing plays one of the gangster people in the film, Cesar
Romero.
Romero was who he played. Um,
Cesar Romero is the guy who from Batman that played Arno. It's his real name in real life.
Perfect. So anyway, um, IMDb gave this film a 6 out of 10. I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Okay. What were your thoughts? Takeaways?
It was good. I don't know if I would watch it again. I don't think I liked it as much as you.
I loved it. I thought it was very fun. It was a bright spot of films that we've watched lately.
Hmm.
Um, it was definitely enjoyable. It was a great way to end the 60s. But so does it make your list upon a star then?
No, it did not get shocked on my list.
So then what is your list to finish out the decades of the 1930s,
60.
1940s, 1950s, 1960s now?
Yes. All right. So my list upon a star. 101 Dalmatians, The Parent Trap, Sleeping Beauty, Dumbo, The Jungle Book, Lady and the Tramp, That Darn Cat, The Three Caballeros, Moon Pilot, and The Shaggy Doll.
Yeah. So this was good. I enjoyed it. It doesn't make my list upon a star just because I have a very like
Selective list.
packed list right now. But we definitely ended the 1960s on a high note. And my list is 101 Dalmatians, Mary Poppins, Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland, Babes in Toyland, Pinocchio, Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, The Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, all the way back from the beginning, Sleeping Beauty, and The Jungle Book. But I'm happy we watched it. It was good. I look forward to the other two of the trilogy. But we have successfully made it through the 1960s. Like I said earlier, we've watched films from the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and now the 60s. Not only that, we are also fastly approaching our 100th film. Um, so again, I wonder if the Disney company knew that they'd be making it into the 70s. Also, wonder if the Disney company knew that they'd be making it to 100 films. Um, the 60s was a big decade. We like there was more films in the 1960s that we watched and dove into than the entirety of the 30s, 40s, and 50s. The 70s is there isn't quite as many, and then the 80s it takes off. So the 80s is gonna be a whole other thing. But we are diving into the 70s next, and that is with a film from February of the year 1970. Film number 96, and it is a film called King of the Grizzlies. Will we like it as much as we like the computer wore tennis shoes? Will it be anything like that? Not at all. Um, but thank you for watching. We are on Instagram. We are on Spotify. We are on YouTube. Rumor has it that our background might be updating as we get into the 100th movie. That's a nice little treat there. And then we also can get your messages at deepdivingthemagicpod@gmail.com if you want to like and comment. And but yeah, so we will, see you for the decade of the 70s starting next time with the film King of the Grizzlies.
Yep. Thanks for deep diving the magic.
Bye.
Bye.